With the 16th pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Yang Hansen.
I will say this, it's the biggest surprise of the draft besides the fact I've made it to pick 16 with Stephen A.
When the Portland Trailblazers used their 16th pick on Yang Hansen, NBA fans didn't just raise eyebrows, they lost their minds. NBC Sports called it a D-. ClutchPoints slapped it with a flat-out F, and veteran analyst John Hollinger summed it up in 3 words. I'm sorry, what? The internet flooded with the same question. Who the hell is Yang Hansen? Nobody expected it, nobody predicted it. Most mock drafts didn't even have him on the radar. But just weeks later, that same name, Yang Hansen, started making serious noise. Some were whispering Jokic 2.0, and others weren't whispering at all. So who is this complete unknown who's now being compared to a 3-time MVP? Is Yang Hansen the next great steal of the draft? Or is the hype train about to crash? Let's find out. Draft night 2025 wasn't supposed to be about Yang. In fact, most people had never heard of him. So when Portland picked him at number 16, the reaction wasn't quiet disappointment, it was open mockery. You could feel the disbelief online. This is the worst pick of the draft. They pulled him out of the crowd. No way this guy is even NBA level. The Trailblazers had just shocked the world, and not in a good way. But what nobody realized at the time is that Yang had already spent years becoming one of the most dominant teenage players on earth. To really understand Yang Hansen, you have to understand where he came from, not just geographically, but situationally. Yang didn't rise through the traditional American pipeline of AAU circuits, prep schools, and ESPN Top 100 lists. He didn't have cameras in his face from the age of 15. No mixtapes. No hype. Instead, he grew up in China, quietly developing his game far from the spotlight until suddenly, he wasn't quiet anymore. At just 18 years old, Yang stepped onto a CBA court as a professional. Not a prospect, not a developmental project, a pro. Most kids at that age are still figuring out how to box out their college roommate. Yang was battling men with NBA experience, Thon maker, Tacko fall, guys who had been there. And what did Yang do? He didn't just compete, he dominated. Let's talk stats first. 15.0 points per game with no offense built around him. 10.8 rebounds per game against grown men with size and strength. 3.9 assists per game as a center. First in total blocks in the league. All while playing with a maturity and tempo that most NBA rookies never reach. And it wasn't just stats, it was how he moved. The game slowed down when he touched the ball. His decisions were fast, precise. He'd receive a pass at the elbow, scan the court like a quarterback, and thread bounce passes to cutters that shouldn't be there. He played like a veteran, with poise beyond his years. That season, Yang was voted Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and yes, an all-star starter as a teenager. Let that sink in. He wasn't just the best young player. He was one of the best players, period. And yet, NBA scouts weren't buying it. The 2023 FIBA U19 World Cup should have been the wake-up call. On paper, it looked like a mismatch. Team USA versus Team China. The US roster was stacked Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, Cooper Flagg, future NBA names. Yang Hansen wasn't supposed to stand out. But on the court, he looked like he belonged, and in some moments, like he was in control. That game against Team USA was brutal for China. The final score wasn't close, but when you zoom in on the footage, a different story emerges. Yang finished with 8 points, 7 assists, 6 blocks, and a +2± in a 23-point loss. You heard that right. When Yang was on the floor, China didn't just hold their own, they were actually better than Team USA. When he sat, the game fell apart. That stat alone should have raised eyebrows. But Yang didn't stop there. He went on to dominate everywhere else in the tournament. Across the event, he ranked number 3-inch rebounds per game, number 1-inch blocks per game, number 2-inch total efficiency, top 5-inch assists, again as a center. He wasn't just protecting the paint, he was initiating the offense, throwing outlet passes, running pick and rolls from the high post, making smart decisions under pressure. And most importantly, he was doing it against elite competition. The same athletes who were headed to Duke, Kentucky, and the NBA, Yang made them uncomfortable. He played with a mix of patience and sharpness that you rarely see at this level. He didn't rush, he didn't get rattled, he just played the right way every possession. But once again, the scouts turned away. They called it a flash, said his plus-minus was anomaly, labeled his performance encouraging but not elite. And once again, Yang went back to work. Across the event, he ranked number 3-inch rebounds per game, number 1-inch blocks per game, number 2-inch total efficiency, top 5-inch assists, again as a center. He wasn't just protecting the paint, he was initiating the offense, throwing outlet passes, running pick and rolls from the high post, making smart decisions under pressure. And most importantly, he was doing it against elite competition. The same athletes who were headed to Duke, Kentucky, and the NBA, Yang made them uncomfortable. He played with a mix of patience and sharpness that you rarely see at this level. He didn't rush, he didn't get rattled, he just played the right way every possession. But once again, the scouts turned away. They called it a flash, said his plus-minus was anomaly, labeled his performance encouraging but not elite. And once again, Yang went back to work. But it wasn't just the threes. He got quicker laterally, slimmed down slightly for better mobility, improved his pick-and-roll defense. He worked on his mid-post moves, those soft floaters, the jab step into a spin hook, the high release over outstretched arms, and then there was the passing. Already a strong distributor, he took it up a notch. No-look dimes, delayed feeds off the roll, cross-court lasers off a rebound. He wasn't just making reads, he was anticipating them. CBA coaches even started letting him bring the ball up after rebounds, a 7-footer initiating the break. If that sounds familiar, it's because Jokic did it first. Yang was clearly watching. He wasn't copying Jokic. He was studying him and applying it. While the basketball world overlooked Yang, one NBA team was quietly watching very closely. The Portland Trail Blazers had a secret. They'd been tracking Yang Hansen for 2 full seasons. Their scouts were showing up at CBA games, taking private notes, reviewing film on flights, and staying quiet, hoping no one else would notice what they saw. While other teams looked at Yang's numbers and shrugged, Portland saw something else. A rare combination of size and decision-making, court vision you can't teach, a unique ability to slow the game down on his own terms, and above all, maturity. He didn't force things. He didn't chase stats. He made the right play over and over again, even if it meant no highlight. Trailblazers GM Joe Cronin knew what they had. After the draft, he said this: "This is a very, very unique talent. In our opinion, high-end skill set. His ability to pass, his IQ, the way he sees the floor, we think he'll make perimeter shots as well." But even those words don't tell the full story. Because behind the scenes, Portland didn't just hope Yang would fall to them. They had a plan. They monitored every international mock draft. They downplayed their interest. They used their second-tier scouts for decoy prospects. And on draft night, they pulled the trigger knowing full well the backlash was coming. Why? Because they believed Yang could be the cornerstone of their rebuild. Not a project, not a novelty, but the centerpiece. And you know what? That risk might have already paid off. Let's talk about the comparison that makes people either roll their eyes or lean forward. Nikola Jokic. It sounds insane, comparing a Chinese teenager to a 3-time NBA MVP, a finals MVP, a global superstar. And yet the comparison exists for a reason. Start with the basics. Both were massively overlooked in their respective drafts. Both had elite passing ability as big men. Both had awkward, almost clumsy-looking athleticism that masked how effective they really were. Both ran the offense like point guards, and both played the game at their own speed. But it goes deeper. Jokic's story is built on being underestimated. Too slow, too soft, labeled a second-round stash. Even Denver didn't fully believe at first. But Jokic worked. He earned minutes. And when the Nuggets finally leaned into his game, the entire system shifted. Suddenly, the entire offense ran through him. That's exactly what Yang has already done in the CBA. He was the offensive hub, the decision maker, the engine, and he didn't need 25 points to do it. The difference? Jokic had time to grow in a low-pressure environment. And now, with the Blazers rebuilding, Yang will have that same luxury. No expectations, no superstar to play behind, just opportunity. Then came Summer League. The lights were bright, the critics were loud, and Yang, he walked into Las Vegas with nothing to lose and everything to prove. Game 1 was against the Golden State Warriors squad, fast, physical, and loaded with hungry rookies. Most players would have been nervous. Yang, he played like he'd been there before. In just 24 minutes, he racked up 10 points, 5 assists, 3 blocks, and more importantly, he looked in control. The crowd didn't know what to make of it. One moment he was faking a handoff and hitting a floater. The next, he was directing teammates with calm authority, pointing out mismatches and firing no-look bounce passes to backdoor cutters. He didn't force shots. He didn't chase stats. He just read the floor and made the game look easy. By Game 2, NBA Twitter had caught on. Clips of Yang throwing cross-court dimes went viral. Side-by-sides with Jokic started trending. In total, over 4 Summer League games, Yang averaged 10.8 points, 5.0 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 2.2 blocks, 33.3% from deep on 3 attempts per game. All of this again in just 24.5 minutes per game. He wasn't even fully unleashed. But of course, the flaws were there too. His conditioning wasn't NBA ready. He looked winded by the third quarter. He had a tendency to overpass, sometimes trying too hard to find the perfect play. Turnovers crept in when he was double-teamed. And his defensive footwork against quicker guards? Still a work in progress. But that's the thing. Every rookie has flaws. Every Summer League performance comes with disclaimers. What matters isn't perfection, it's flashes of brilliance. And Yang gave us that. Over and over again. He wasn't a stat chaser, he was a system changer. And everyone could feel it. The same outlets that gave Portland an F on draft night suddenly went quiet. The same scouts that wrote Yang off as too slow were now anonymously telling reporters that he might be special. And the Jokic talk? Well, now it didn't sound so ridiculous. So what now? Well, let's get one thing straight. Yang Hansen is not a finished product. Not even close. He's entering a league full of elite athletes, lightning-fast guards, and brutal physicality. And he's doing it with a game that's unconventional. That means he'll struggle at times. He'll get exposed in pick and rolls. He'll turn the ball over when defenses press him. He'll have games where he looks completely outmatched. But the question isn't, will Yang dominate right away? The question is, can Yang grow into a player who controls the game his way? And if we look at the context, the stars are aligning. He's on a rebuilding team. The Blazers aren't fighting for wins. They're fighting for development. He'll get real minutes, not garbage time. Actual reps, actual pressure. He'll be surrounded by young talent guys who want to run, cut, and grow together. And perhaps most importantly, he already has the mind for it. We've seen what happens when a team trusts their playmaking big. Denver put the ball in Jokic's hands and said, "Run the show." Now, Portland may not say that just yet, but don't be surprised if 6 months in, they realize Yang sees things on the court that other rookies don't. And here's the best part. He's not walking into this league cocky. He's walking in angry. Draft night humiliation, critics who laughed, scouts who skipped his games. You think he forgot? No chance. He's got that look in his eye, the look of someone who wants to prove every single person wrong. That's dangerous. Because when you take lottery-level talent and add a chip on the shoulder the size of Mount Hood, that's when the league gets caught sleeping. That's when superstars are made. Here's what we know. Yang Hansen is not your typical prospect. He's not loud, he's not flashy, and he's not trying to fit in. What he is, though, is a connector, a thinker, a feel first, pass second, shoot third big man who wants to make his teammates better. That's rare. And in a league obsessed with highlights and individual dominance, sometimes it's the quiet ones who sneak up and take over, just like Jokic did, just like Luka did. And maybe, just maybe, like Yang will. Will he become an all-star? A franchise cornerstone? A face of the league? Too early to tell. But what we can say with absolute certainty is this. Yang Hansen is no longer a mystery. He's a problem. And the NBA better start paying attention.